the top of the pump house. One of my favorite places when I was in the old backyard about a few years ago. Now, as many of you know, this place, this very room, was where all my stuff was whenever I didn't need it at that current moment. So, you're probably thinking, what made me do this? Well, I just wanted to make this video just to let you know why I decided to do this. So, this is the history of the top of the pump house. On November 7th, 2016, I decided to make a really cool idea and start my backyard videos up at the top of this room. Yeah, in this very room, I decided to, you know what? I think I should start backyard videos and end backyard videos up in this little room right here. And then, it became a reality. And it completely changed everything. And yeah, this room went through many, many designs throughout the years that I was in it. And here is obviously, again, I was here, yeah. So yeah, throughout this video, again, I'm obviously calling it the history of the top of the pump house. So obviously, you're gonna see what the pump house started off with and what it ended off with throughout the years. Let's do this. This is phase 1 of the pump house, even though it is quite blurry because I'm actually using the first ever video I showed it in to actually do this first phase. Because later on in the next month, it actually changed a bit. So basically, the top of the pump house actually looked pretty empty throughout its time, and it really was not much in here right after that. So as you can see by the little video here, obviously this is the first time I showcased the top of the pump house. And a little fun fact about it, I actually didn't even come up with the name with it yet. Yeah, funny enough, I didn't even come up with the name Top of the Pump House yet, because I literally just discovered it on that very day. No, I'm actually serious, I actually did discover this room on that very day that I filmed the video. I'm impressed. But in reality, this room was a really cool first phase. I honestly just love it. It's just been an amazing thing for the first phase. And later on, it changed so much that I loved it. The second phase of the top of the pump house started on December 21st. The first phase was from November 7th to December 21st, 2016. And this phase went through a long time. Yup. As you can see, there's the little parts of the chairs right there. Let me get a better difference. See, right there. There's the second phase of the top of the pump house, and it lasted from December 21st, 2016 to May 1st, 2017. That's a long time for the second phase, but it still really amazes me how he did this. It was just so cool having both of those chairs up there, and later on, those chairs kept staying up there pretty much all the way to the end, which honestly, I've got to say, that's pretty amazing. Alright, the third phase of the top of the pump house, which honestly, I loved it. So, as you can see, everything was completely changed during that time, including the igloo being in a different spot, and deciding that I would put up a few towels there just to lead into the room and make it a little bit better. I honestly didn't mind the changes, honestly, because it was really cool how I did it, because I honestly just didn't know. I mean, later on I did put the igloo back in its normal spot, and a little fun fact, this phase went from May 1st to the 10th. I honestly just love this phase. It was something really cool. It's kind of unfortunate that it did last for a very short amount of time, aka 10 days. However, the phase was not gone completely. The next phase actually is just a little update to it. Alright, here is phase 4. Now, it's just a small little change to the the room, and check it out. This is where the project table made its first appearance, as this is phase 4 to the top of the pump house. And as you can see, when we were up here during this time, we actually considered, when I was thinking of something to do, I was thinking, I always thought, you know what, we're always doing our projects at the below this room, and I thought, you know what, why don't I just get a cool project table and make a little project table. And there you go, that's where this came from. This phase lasted from May 10th to the July 13th, 2017. Sorry about that. But honestly, this phase was just amazing. Just so amazing how I did this. Phase 5 of the top of the pump house, which honestly, during its time, first of all, as you can tell, when phase 5 came into play, the project table was right where you just saw it, literally right there. And this was actually before I completely designed it, and I'll show you exactly what it looks like after I designed it, right now to be exact. So yeah, there was the project table that was not there. But yeah, here's what it looked like after I redesigned it on that day, July 13th. Alright, so this is what it looked like right after I redesigned it. So, whoa. It was really cool how I redesigned it. It was just a cool way. The reason why I put the project table there back then was because I had nowhere else to put it. This phase lasted from July 13th all the way to September 7th. It was still really cool how I made it. I honestly would have kept this phase, but it always has to change eventually. And as you know, I changed it every few months. Phase 6 of the top of the pump house actually was the biggest ever, because first of all, the whole room was empty. So yeah, the whole room was empty. This lasted from September 7th to the 11th due to Hurricane Irma coming in the next few days right after this room was empty. Yeah, due to that coming in the next few days right after this room was empty, yeah, we had to quite literally empty the whole room to make sure everything was safe. So yeah, again, we had to quite literally empty the whole room to make sure everything was safe before the hurricane happened. And I'm glad we did this, because honestly, if we left it up here, everything would have gotten destroyed. Which, thank the Lord, nothing got destroyed because nothing was up here. Phase 7 of the top of the pump house was basically where the room became pretty much empty again. So yeah, this is basically how it is. So yeah, basically the room became empty again for only about 2 weeks. So basically, September 11 to the 25th, the room was pretty much back to the way it was from the very beginning. Yeah, for only 2 weeks. And then it became back to its normal form again from July, but that didn't last long. But really, that's only what it was like for like 2 weeks. Kind of unfortunate, because I really liked this phase. It was just really cool. I just really left this phase. Phase 8 of the top of the pump house was basically pretty much the same thing as phase 2, except for those 2 bins right there. Despite, I honestly loved it. This lasted from October 2nd, 2017 to January 8th, 2018. That's a pretty long time. I honestly just really loved it. And boxes were added later on. Let me show you. By the way, this was phase 9, what I was still talking about. Phase 9 of the top of the pump house. This lasted from January 8th to January 30th. Not really long, but still really cool. And I honestly just loved it. It was just really cool. And yeah, that was the episode where we remodeled it for phase 9. Phase 10, which was from January 30th all the way to April 1st. That's a long time. 2 months. Now this phase, we had the project table literally right next to the igloo, instead of the igloo being in a different place. I honestly loved it. And it was the episode where we brought back the project table. Honestly, I loved it. Still wish I could do it if I was still there. No! Well, I still have the project table to this day, just not the room. Phase 11. This lasted from April 1st to May 1st, exactly 1 month. There wasn't really much, almost the same design as the January one. And finally the end, Phase 12.